Hello, I'm Jorge Rodriguez, also known as JR, and you're watching the Mater Bader Podcast Special.
Welcome back to the Jorge Rodriguez podcast. In this episode, we will be discussing on whether or not Truman Capote was a reliable narrator in his novel In Cold Blood. Was it fact? Was it bias? Or was he gay? Stay tuned to find out.
In a small town of Holcomb, Kansas, lived a family of four. Herbert Clutter, the dad, Bonnie Clutter, the mom, Nancy Clutter, the daughter, and Kenny Clutter, the son, as well as their two other adult children, known as Beverly and Ivana Clutter.
They aren't important to the story, but...
You go on. The family was known as the Clutters. They were a rich family of somewhat rich farmers that were based in Kansas. They were a really happy family, and randomly, in the dead of night, they were brutally murdered by two ex-convicts, Richard Hickok and Perry Edward Smith. The murder would forever change Kansas and eventually turn into an undercover doomed
Yowie.
In Cold Blood, written by Truman Capote in 1966.
Yowie. That's my favorite genre.
Me too! The author had a deep, intimate relationship with one of the murderers, Perry Smith, which may have influenced a bit of biased storytelling throughout the book.
Okay, so based on what you know about the book,
How do you interpret the way Capote portrays Perry? Would you say it's an accurate portrayal, or does Capote seem overly infatuated with Perry?
I mean,
from what I read,
Capote seems to write a story in favor of Perry Smith. He fleshes out his character more than Dick and gives constant reminders on how all the trauma has affected him, trying to humanize how he feels about what he did.
So in total, you feel like that Truman Capote tries to humanize Perry
more than Dick.
100%.
Yeah, because most of the time he talks about how
Dick didn't care, he didn't
care about murders or anything, but as soon as he starts talking about Perry, he describes it as being like, oh yeah, he was
mentally ill, he had a lot of trauma.
stuff like that.
He's lucky right though.
Alright, so going back to the point of victimizing, in the book, Capote says, for Perry Smith's life had been no bed of roses, but pitiful and ugly and lonely progress towards one mirage and then another.
What?
What we think Capote is trying to say here is that pretty much the whole time Perry has been alone during his whole upbringing, and even now, and him chasing Mirage is pretty much him chasing something that isn't there for him.
Yeah.
Capote also says it wasn't because of anything the Clutters did.
Yo, can you guys get out?
Also Capote, he said it wasn't because of anything the Clutters did. They never hurt me, like other people have all my life. Maybe it's just that the Clutters were the ones who had to pay for it.
Yeah, I see that. Capote keeps on referencing that Perry had a troubled past, brings it up, and he doesn't really do that for Dick. He gives him a brief few pages about his family, how he was a star athlete, but with Perry, he keeps on bringing up, in this quote, they say, they never hurt me, like the other people did. A reference that he has been hurt all his life and has suffered a lot, and an attempt that Capote, I think, is trying to humanize Perry way more than he's trying to humanize Dick. And that might be due to the fact that he didn't take notes during his interviews, and that he
Apparently had a relationship with Perry.
Yeah, do you think that he's trying to humanize him so much since over his time trying to research for the book, he ended up becoming so close with him while his time in jail? Do you think that's why he keeps diving into his past more than he did with...
he keeps on talking this, but I think so, because from what I've read personally, that Capote has developed a very close relationship to the point where
They were telling him secrets.
maybe they had a relationship, but he also came to the murder, or the killing of Perry Smith, and he reportedly had to leave the room after he saw it. He was just that distraught.
I mean, I think also apart from the fact that he didn't take notes, he was okay, forgot. I mean, since he was close with Perry, how do we know that he didn't change anything? Because since he didn't take notes, how do we know that he didn't change any of the events in his life?
reliable?
Yeah.
Yeah, because the people, after he published the book, the people in Holcomb, Kansas, thought that the book was bad because they thought he was dramatizing the whole like story.
Yeah, they were saying it was fiction and all that.
So going back, like you said that the people of Holcomb treated the book as fiction because
Like from when I read the book,
he was using like words. I said like Holcomb is just a boring town. This is a farming town. I get that. So I think that Capote probably wrote off the town as boring and uninspiring. So it will make light of the murders that happened there. But based on all that has been said, I think we could pretty much come to the conclusion that Capote is pretty biased when it comes to writing this book, especially in favor towards Perry Smith.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And